2020 was a devastating year for all sides in the Brooklyn drill movement. In February, Pop Smoke was killed, ironically in a home invasion carried out in Los Angeles, completely unrelated to the New York Crip and GD or Wu and Cho beefs. And whilst most of the hip-hop community and drill community were devastated at the loss of Pop Smoke, not long after the news broke, Cho GDs like Nas Blixky were caught on social media in a celebratory mood, dancing to Pop Smoke's music. But anyway, jump forward to March the 6th, 2020, and 22G's drops his groundbreaking Sniper Gang freestyle. This ends up doing numbers, becoming one of his most iconic songs and sitting today over 17 million views on YouTube. 22 is of course talking mad reckless on this track. He says he kills people and raps about it like Melly. He hinted that he robbed A Boogie's High Bridge crew, and he disses the Wu Bloods D-Sav JD, as well as formerly Wu Blood rapper 6ix9ine, who later reacted to this clip with DJ Academics in an IG Live, clowning High Bridge for getting robbed by the Blickies and asking Academics if he doesn't like him anymore after this track.
Niggas robbed High Bridge for their chain and shot the niggas from High Bridge.
No, I don't know. I like what he does you.
They shot High Bridge and took their chain in Florida. Be honest, when you heard this, you didn't like me no more?
Yo, and 22G's, I met him in LA, he's real.
6ix9ine even reacted to 22G shouting out his old blood homies D-Sav and JD, and then kind of hilariously pressed DJ Academics for not showing them respect.
JD, not D-Sav, especially not that snitch nigga.
Yeah, he dissed JD and D-Sav. Remember in Stupid when I said JD, D-Sav is my guy?
Wait,
you don't want to beef with them niggas either. Say sorry to them.
With who?
To JD and D-Sav, say sorry to them.
D-Sav and JD. Man, I don't even know why niggas man shit name. You sound like some real stand-up individuals. I like y'all.
So, the Blicky GDs are out here bringing a lot of attention to themselves. There's rumors around this time that shootouts with rivals are becoming a regular occurrence. Obviously, the biggest targets for the ops are the big names that are associated with the Blicky gang and their musical movement. And unfortunately, it doesn't take long before a big name in this scene has their life taken away.
4:43, breaking news out of Brooklyn, where a popular rapper was shot and killed overnight. Nick Blixky was discovered with gunshot wounds on Winthrop Street in Prospect Lefferts Gardens. A picture from Instagram shows the rapper, who has tens of thousands of followers, a 21-year-old artist born as Nicholas Thompson, was shot around 9:30 last night. Tributes poured in from the hip-hop world on social media for the Jamaican-American artist. He was set to release a mixtape on June 6th. The NYPD has not released any information on the search for suspects.
Yes, on May the 11th, 2020, Nick Blixky was shot dead in the middle of the street, just blocks away from his Brooklyn home. After this, we saw fellow GDs like Nas Blixky mourning their deceased friend, and we also saw Crip ops like Chef G clowning on Facebook and seemingly laughing on IG Live.
Yo!
From here, the feds even start looking at the Wu and Chu rap beef and the Pop Smoke connection as a result of all these ops gloating online. The cops do eventually catch up with a suspect who had fled New York to Philly after the murder happened, a man named Caliph Green, who had actually already been convicted of attempted murder back in 2017. Apparently, he'd been caught on surveillance video wearing a distinctive patterned hoodie, bronze sneakers, a distinctive globe tattoo on his arm, and more importantly, a blue Crip bandana. Now, from what I understand, this case hasn't actually been to trial yet, and the man accused of killing Nick Blixky is still sat in jail with a mainly empty GoFundMe currently active. Within days of the slaying of Nick Blixky, opposing Crip neighborhoods like Canarsie were apparently shot up numerous times, and multiple individuals were murdered in areas with affiliations to this feud. This includes a 16-year-old boy who was shot dead in Crown Heights on May the 12th, another shooting which occurred in the Wu-associated 90s on May the 14th, where a man was shot in the chest after an on-foot confrontation near East 93rd Street and Clarkson Avenue at 8:20 p.m. The man who lost his life in this instance turned out to be Bug 7, a Wu associate, and just after a week after this, in a seemingly unrelated incident, Wu-affiliated rapper KJ Baller was also killed too, gunned down in a drive-by in Brooklyn. Now, for the record, not all of these incidents are necessarily connected to this feud, but it just shows you how hot the mean streets of New York were only a matter of days following this shocking incident. But from here, things didn't get much better throughout 2020. In June, there was a string of shootings within 20 minutes in Canarsie that the NYPD said were possibly connected, and eventually, as a result of the constant back and forth attacks between the Crips and GDs, we would see another big tragic loss for the Blixky crew. As in October 2020, Lou Blixky, real name Luis Caballero, was shot to death in Brooklyn at 1 a.m. on Sunday the 18th of October at Watkins Streets and Livonia Ave. A suspect named Rover Benjamin, age 20, was arrested near the scene and pinned as the trigger man, with cops suggesting that the shooter was a Crip and that the victim was a member of OGD 6 Tray, which, if you don't remember, was the original name for the 6 Tray outlaw gangster disciples that Davon Rodney ran back in the day up until 2014. Within just days of this killing, there was yet another wave of drive-bys that left 3 dead and 11 injured, with some of these incidents being linked to the ops of the GDs, including this one, which left 1 man dead and 5 injured when a group of 3 gunmen opened fire from a white BMW 5 Series. Remember those? Apparently they were rolling 2 shooters, 1 driver, with all 3 individuals firing shots from the driver's side window, the passenger side window, and the sunroof.
And we've got breaking news in Brooklyn where 5 people were shot. The gunfire erupting just before 10:30. Citizen app video shows the scene on Hawthorne Street in Prospect Lefferts Gardens. Police appear to be carrying 1 victim.
Eyewitness News reporter Derek Waller has the details from Prospect Lefferts Gardens, Brooklyn.
And right now, police are looking for 3 gunmen seen shooting from a moving car here on Hawthorne Street last night. Neighbors say it sounded like a war zone. Police say 3 gunmen opened fire from a moving white sedan, one of them even popping out of the sunroof. Today, shell casings were everywhere. Investigators with evidence bags. The shooting likely gang-related.
I saw somebody injured. He was like on the floor, on the ground right there, and a guy was like bawling his eyes out. I mean, it was horrific.
Today, families had to duck under crime scene tape to get to work and school.
And if things weren't already explosive enough, a week later, surveillance footage of the shooters emerged.
New video to show you tonight of a deadly shooting in Brooklyn earlier this week. Surveillance video shows shots getting fired from a car Wednesday night. This is in Prospect Lefferts Gardens area of Brooklyn. Gunmen are seen firing out the windows on the driver's side and also out of the sunroof. 6 people were shot. 1 of them was killed.
That is wild. Anyway, from the streets, back to the music. On November the 27th, 2020, 22G's would finally release new music. This came in the form of his hard-hitting tribute track Fallen Blickies, which pays tribute to his recently deceased brothers. But naturally, not everyone can be so respectful. In December 2020, Blood Woo rapper 1090 Justo B chased clout by spraying GDK onto what appeared to be a headstone in a graveyard whilst insinuating that this was Nick Blixky's burial site. Now, it would turn out that this was just promo for his new music video, Break in the Grave, and this wasn't actually Nick Blixky's grave because he'd been cremated anyway, but it just goes to show you not only the lengths that people will go to disrespect their ops publicly, but also the lengths to which people will go to get clout. And in many ways, that's the problem with Brooklyn drill. It's all about, and it always has been about, just saying the worst things possible on a drill beat to get attention. Whilst the war between the New York Crips and GDs was still raging, in August 2020, Fabio Foreign went to Chicago to hang out with King Von, a Chicago black disciple who loved shouting GDK more than anyone.
Oh my God, they going viral. And I got that J on. They going stupid, nigga. Big GDK. Viral. The whole shit GDK. Like DK heaven, nigga. It's like DK heaven, nigga. I ain't never been nowhere like this, nigga. This shit crazy. Bow! It's like everybody says the same thing.
Fabio Foreign had truly built his entire career off of being big GDK. And it worked. I mean, in many ways, it was actually a genius way to rapidly build up a fan base of the kinds of rap fans who love Chicago drill. They already know and love the GDK catchphrase from all the black disciple rappers that they love. King Von, Chief Keef, Lil Durk. They all bang GDK with pride. So when Fabio Foreign came out with Blicky in a Box and started repping GDK hard, he activated a huge swell of rap and gang fans that already had an affinity with the GDK movement. However, unlike 22G's and Chef G, once success came knocking, Fabio Foreign seemed to be able to stay out of the streets and stay focused on the music. Sure, 22G's and the Blickies were dropping music as well as beefing in the streets, and Chef G also dropped music frequently in 2020. Tracks like Lights On, No Negotiations, and Mistakes, the last 2 coming from his Proud of Me Now project, all of these guys played a huge role in turning Brooklyn drill from just a couple of diss tracks back and forth between gang members to a fully blown music scene where everybody involved had a chance to make $1 million legally. Yet the sad thing is, even once everybody involved had reached this point in their careers, there just seemed to be no way that those involved could leave things in the past, set this beef aside, and focus on the bright future they had ahead of them. In many ways, the saddest thing is that a lot of the young, impressionable men that got involved in this beef didn't even realize their full potential. They didn't even realize how far they could have gone with music if they could just leave things in the path and set this beef to one side.
They say Pop Smoke was shot and killed during an early morning break-in at a home in the Hollywood Hills.
Martinez was not stabbed or shot, but bound and his feet cemented before being thrown into the city waters.
Sunday night, an argument over a parking spot left 1 man dead and led to a confrontation with police, leaving a 2nd man killed. 19-year-old Jeffrey Alexander allegedly shot and killed 30-year-old Ladarian Tyrell Phillips of Homestead.
Today, shell casings were everywhere. Investigators with evidence bags. The shooting likely gang-related.
Nick Blixky was discovered with gunshot wounds on Winthrop Street in Prospect. Prospect Lefferts Gardens.
Look, a lot of nasty shit has gone down on both sides of this beef. Something that really stood out to me in the process of researching this video was that whenever one of these rappers is interviewed by the likes of, say, DJ Vlad, he always tries to ask them whether or not there's some circumstances where they could set aside this beef and just focus on their career.
Is there any way that you can imagine where y'all could bury whatever's happening, whatever happened in the past, and say, fuck it, we're gonna start doing some music together, we're gonna start doing some tours together?
You got to skip that question.
Look, I know this seems like a dumb question, especially if you've got a friend that has been killed as part of one of these deadly feuds. But the reality is, when you go and look at the recent songs by any of the artists that are involved in this feud, the comments are filled with fans echoing the same sentiments, saying they don't care about taking sides, they love the music coming out of both camps. Many of them, myself included, love all of the artists involved and don't mess with any of that gang shit. The true irony of this story is that all of the artists involved are holding themselves back by clinging on to street beef. You can't become the biggest gangster in the GDs or the Crips by letting beef in the street slide, but you also can't become the biggest artist in the rap game by dragging your gang war into the music industry with you. Everyone involved was able to use this beef to kickstart a huge amount of interest in their local music scene and their music. This beef was a massive success in making all of the artists involved millions of dollars and finally getting them a route out of the streets through music. I just hope that going forward, all of the surviving artists from this story can stay focused on their music and on their art and not on the beef. I hope Chef, Favio and Tutu can all move forward in a positive direction and just keep on delivering hits, the music kind. Because everyone loves to sit around and say, oh, how tragic it was for Pop Smoke not to actually get to experience his own success. Well, Brooklyn Drill has a whole bunch of Pop Smokes that are still alive and fire, so let's make sure that we give them their flowers while they're still here, because who knows, they might not be for much longer. Let's appreciate the violent history of this poppin' music scene, but still hope that everybody involved in this story continues winning at life, drama-free, and living happily ever after. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the very long and very complex story of the deadly gang war between New York's Crips and GDs. I hope you enjoyed watching it, I enjoyed making it, and until next time, a peace out.